Life sometimes brings such moments that those who want to bring your name to the ground are forced to bow down in front of you. All those who once ignored you, who once looked down on you when you turned your back, are now looking at your shining light. Because true strength is based on character, not slander. As you continue on your path, Allah glorifies you and the names of those who cursed you are forgotten. Today is the day of those who break the chains of the past and walk their own path with honor. In front of everyone's eyes, as fate lifts you to the top, those who tried to pull you down are being erased from your life one by one. Now everyone can see who is real and who is just talking. Write 222 in the comments. Now don't just be a spectator, be a part of the story. With your support, we will become a huge family of 5,000 people. Subscribe now, turn on notifications and join us. Because the chosen ones always get the respect they deserve in the end. Life is a lot like a grand tapestry, a patchwork quilt, if you will, woven together by hands we can't always see, using threads we wouldn't always choose. Sometimes, those threads are soft and golden, like memories of childhood laughter, or the embrace of someone who believes in you even when you doubt yourself. But there are also times when the fabric turns rough and knotted, and we wonder why certain pieces got sewn into our story at all. If you've ever felt like certain people were working behind the scenes, tying knots you didn't ask for, I want you to know, that's not the end of your story, it's the beginning of your testimony. You see, in this world, there are seasons when it feels like someone else is holding the needle and thread of your destiny, stitching secret designs when you're not looking. Maybe you were raised in a home where love had conditions, or found yourself surrounded by folks who only smiled when things were going well for them, but seemed to vanish when you needed a hand. Maybe you've sat at a table and felt, deep down, that not everyone cheering for you wanted to see you win. And maybe, just maybe, you've been the topic of whispered conversations, where your struggles became someone else's entertainment. But let me remind you of this. Just because somebody tries to tangle your story doesn't mean they get to decide how it ends. A quilt isn't beautiful because every square is perfect. It's beautiful because it's been pieced together, stitched with care, and made to last. In the same way, your journey has been shaped by every high, every low, every triumph, and every trial. You are not here by accident, and you are certainly not a victim of coincidence. Now, sometimes it feels like the clouds roll in, and all you can see is darkness. People may spread rumors, misjudge your motives, or try to put you in a box you were never meant to fit in. And for a season, it might even seem like their plans are working. Doors may close. Friends might walk away. Family might not understand. But here's where the miracle starts to unfold. The very things designed to confine you are what teach you how to stand tall. If you've ever walked through a storm and come out with your faith still intact, you know what I'm talking about. You didn't just survive, you learned how to dance in the rain. That's because, deep down, you were never meant to fade into the background. God didn't call you to blend in. He called you to shine, to rise, to become a living example of grace under fire. Let's take a moment and think about how trees grow. A mighty oak doesn't sprout overnight. It starts as a tiny acorn buried beneath the dirt, surrounded by darkness. But something inside that acorn says, "There's more for me." It pushes through the soil inch by inch, facing wind and weather, sometimes even the boot of someone passing by. Still, it keeps growing. And one day, that tree stands tall, offering shade, bearing fruit, and becoming a landmark for everyone to see. In your life, you might feel like that acorn right now, unseen, underestimated, or even pushed down. But your roots are taking hold, and soon enough, your branches will stretch out farther than anyone ever expected. Want to see miracles come alive? Subscribe and witness the wonder in every story. People will look back on the hardships you faced and realize they were watching the making of a miracle. The same folks who once doubted you will find hope in your story. The very community that may have misunderstood you will come to celebrate your endurance. You'll see how every setback was a setup for something greater, how every door that closed forced you to find a new path, and every betrayal taught you the true meaning of forgiveness. There's something special about the chosen one. You carry a light that can't be dimmed by the opinions of others. Even when you're surrounded by voices telling you that you can't, your spirit hears another voice whispering, "Yes, you can." And not only can you, but you will, Because you were built for this moment, equipped with everything you need to turn adversity into advantage. Let's talk about that word, adversity. A lot of folks think adversity is a curse, but in truth, it's the very soil in which your calling takes root. Just like diamonds form under pressure, your gifts and strengths are forged in the heat of opposition. When someone tries to close a door in your face, it doesn't mean you've reached the end of your journey. It means it's time to find a new door, or maybe even build one yourself. Sometimes, the greatest gifts are hidden inside of hardships. Maybe you lost a job and found a new purpose. Maybe a relationship ended, and you discovered parts of yourself you never knew existed. Maybe you've struggled with illness or loss, only to discover a deeper well of faith you never would have tapped into otherwise. Whatever your story, remember, what others meant for harm, God can turn for good. As you look back over your life, you'll notice that every twist and turn was preparing you for now. The people who left didn't just leave, they made room for better relationships. The losses weren't just losses, they cleared the way for new blessings. Even the pain was not wasted. It became the training ground for compassion, wisdom, and resilience. There's a reason why some folks tried to hold you back or write you off. People often criticize what they can't control or understand. Maybe your confidence intimidated them. Maybe your kindness made them uneasy. Maybe your refusal to play small threatened their comfort zone. But your purpose is too big to be contained by someone else's limitations. You weren't created to be ordinary. You are an original masterpiece, crafted by the hands of a creator who sees every tear, hears every prayer, and knows exactly where you're headed. You see, the road to destiny is paved with the stones of persistence and the mortar of hope. When others tried to hide your shine, all they did was make it brighter. When obstacles rose up, you learned how to climb higher. When storms raged, you discovered how to find peace in the middle of chaos. Every challenge was an invitation to grow, and every victory was a reminder that nothing can keep you from your God-given purpose. I want you to remember this: your value doesn't depend on the opinions of people who never understood your heart. The measure of your worth isn't set by those who doubted, criticized, or overlooked you. True worth comes from knowing who you are and whose you are. It's in the quiet moments, when nobody's watching, that your character is built and your calling is refined. Maybe you're in a season right now where you feel unseen or misunderstood. Don't give up. The tapestry isn't finished. What feels like a setback is really a setup for a comeback. The world needs your story, every stitch, every scar, every triumph. Your perseverance is not just for you. It's for all those who will find courage by watching how you handled adversity. You're not defined by your worst days. You are shaped by the way you rise after a fall, by the faith you hold onto when nothing makes sense, by the love you give even when it's not returned. There's a kind of strength that only grows in the shadows, a wisdom that only comes from walking through the valley and making it out the other side. And when the dust settles, people will see that you weren't just a survivor, you were a trailblazer, a peacemaker, a beacon for others searching for hope. You'll look back and thank God for every closed door, every no, every delay, because they pushed you to discover gifts you never would have found if the path had been easy. So, don't be afraid of the seasons when others try to silence or sideline you. The same hands that allowed you to walk through the fire will carry you into places you never dreamed possible. Your faith, your perseverance, your kindness in the face of misunderstanding, they all matter more than you know. The road ahead may twist and turn, but your story isn't over. The best chapters are still being written. There will be days when you wonder if the fight is worth it, when you're tempted to give in to discouragement or settle for less than you deserve. But remember, you were chosen for such a time as this. Your life is a message of possibility to everyone who has ever felt forgotten, overlooked, or underestimated. Let your story be proof that grace is greater than failure, that hope is stronger than fear, and that love always has the last word. No scheme, no rumor, no plan set in darkness can hold back a soul determined to rise. Hold on to faith even when you can't see the outcome. Trust that the one who brought you this far is not finished with you yet. Celebrate the progress, honor the process, and keep pressing forward. The tapestry is still unfolding, and when all is said and done, your life will be a masterpiece of resilience and redemption, touching more hearts than you can imagine. So keep standing. Keep believing. Keep reaching out to help others along the way. Because when your story is told, it will not be one of defeat but of victory. A living legacy, stitched together by grace, carried forward by love, and remembered as the journey of a true chosen one. Think of your soul as a lamp on the front porch of a house built by faith. There's something about a porch light, no matter how dark the street gets, that glow reaches out, cutting through fog, inviting the lost and the weary, guiding family home after a long day. It doesn't shout, it doesn't force, it simply shines because that's what it was made to do. In the quiet of evening, you might not see all the bugs it keeps away, or all the footsteps it gently redirects, but that lamp does its job without applause, simply by being what it is, a steady light in a shifting world. That's what your spirit has been, chosen one. Without fanfare, you've been the lamp shining at the edge of somebody's darkness. When the world gets noisy, when everyone else is fighting to be heard, there you are, standing strong, rooted in peace, unwavering in truth. And let me tell you, that matters more than you know. You see, every little act of goodness, every honest word spoken when it would have been easier to stay silent, every gentle touch, every genuine smile, those are beams of light spilling out onto the road where others pass by. Sometimes you think nobody notices. Sometimes you feel like you're standing alone, holding up a candle in a hurricane. But what you don't see is how that light travels. You don't know the hearts it's reaching, the lives it's changing. That's how ripples start, quiet, invisible at first, but growing stronger with every heartbeat. The world has always been full of folks drawn to storm clouds. There are those who thrive on drama, stirring the pot just to see what floats to the top. They carry umbrellas on sunny days, waiting for trouble, looking for the next bit of gossip to spread. But your peace unsettles them. Your kindness is a challenge to their chaos. Your steady glow is a storm they can't weather, because it exposes what's real. When you choose honesty over convenience, grace over judgment, and forgiveness over keeping score, you become a mirror for those who have spent years hiding behind masks. The thing about masks is, they only work in the dark. But turn on a light, and suddenly, you see right through them. With every sincere conversation, with every small kindness, you loosen another mask, reveal another truth. Some folks will try to cling tighter to their disguises, afraid of what might happen if they're really seen. But even they can't ignore the feeling that something's changing. It's like the moment at dawn when the first birds start to sing. They can't see the sun yet, but they know it's coming. That's your presence, chosen one, heralding a new day, even when others are still convinced it's night. It might be subtle at first, a sideways glance, a pause in conversation, a quiet withdrawal from someone who once filled the room with noise. Maybe a few people start drifting away. Don't let that discourage you. Some hearts just aren't ready for daylight. Some spirits aren't built to withstand honesty. That's not your failure, it's their season. Hungry for timeless wisdom? Hit subscribe and feed your soul. What you're doing, friend, is planting seeds, seeds of courage, seeds of hope, seeds of truth. They don't all sprout at once, but over time, even the hardest soil cracks open when the sun keeps shining. You are the reason the ground is warming, the reason the masks are falling. You are proof that it's possible to be kind and unshakable, to be gentle but never a pushover, to love without letting yourself be trampled. Maybe you don't see the changes right away. Maybe you go home at night and wonder if it's worth it, if anyone even notices. Let me assure you, God sees every moment you choose light. Heaven celebrates every time you stay true, even when it costs you comfort or popularity. You're not standing alone on that porch. You're surrounded by angels, by the prayers of those who came before, by the hope of those who will follow your example. Some people are drawn to that glow. They gather close, warmed by your honesty, refreshed by your laughter, comforted by your faith. You become a safe place, a shelter, a friend to the lost and lonely. That's the gift you carry. A lamp that never goes out, a spirit that refuses to be dimmed. But here's the truth. Not everyone will want to stand in your light. Some will flinch and hide, exposed by what you reveal just by being yourself. Don't take it personal. Darkness always recoils from the day. When people pull away, it's not a reflection of your worth, It's a testimony to your impact. I want you to hear this deep down. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs more light. It needs men and women who can sit quietly with someone in pain, who can speak the truth when it would be easier to flatter, who can forgive when holding a grudge would feel justified. It needs porch lamps like you, burning steady in the night. Over time, you'll notice something miraculous. The very people who once rolled their eyes at your sincerity start coming back with questions. The ones who mocked your faith find themselves in need of your prayers. The friends who drifted away in search of excitement come home looking for realness, for warmth, for belonging. Because in the end, storms always pass, but the lamp on the porch keeps shining, guiding them safely back. This isn't just about being a nice person. This is about building a legacy, laying down a path for others to walk. Every time you choose kindness, you're lighting the way for somebody else. Every truth you speak, every grace you extend, becomes another stone in the road home for someone who's lost their way. And don't you doubt it, chosen one, God is weaving all of this together for a purpose greater than you can imagine. He's using your quiet moments, your unsung victories, your private faithfulness, to change the world one heart at a time. When the world seems to value the loudest voice, He honors the steady lamp, the faithful friend, the humble servant who loves without limits. Your reward isn't always immediate, but it's always sure. The seeds you plant in faith will bear fruit in season. The kindness you show today will come back to you multiplied tomorrow. The legacy you build with every gentle word, every honest act, will outlive the storms and outshine the darkness. So keep shining, even when it feels like you're the only one. Keep telling the truth, keep extending grace, keep showing up for people who may not yet understand what you're offering. Your light is needed now more than ever. You are not just surviving, you are changing the atmosphere. You are not just another face in the crowd, you are a beacon. Your motives matter. Your kindness counts. Your story isn't finished. The lamp is still burning, the dawn is on its way, and you, yes you, are the proof that one quiet spirit can light up the whole block. Don't let discouragement blow out your flame. Don't let disappointment make you retreat. You have a calling to shine, a mission to bring warmth, a legacy to leave for those who come after you. The world will try to distract you, try to convince you to join the noise, but your greatest strength is in your steadiness, your peace, your honesty. And someday, when people look back, they won't remember all the noise, all the storms, all the drama. They'll remember the porch light, the one that kept shining, the one that showed them the way home. They'll remember you, chosen one, as the one who stood strong, who loved deeply, who lived with a clean heart and a powerful spirit. Think about the way a campfire burns in the middle of the wilderness at night. Out there, when the chill sets in and shadows stretch across the land, that fire draws in both the lost and the curious. Folks will circle round, some with honest intentions and others looking just to steal a little warmth for themselves. But here's the truth about fire, friend, it never lies. It'll reveal the faces that come close. Some will sit with you and share stories, offering bread and laughter, while others lurk at the edge, hoping their real reasons for being there won't be noticed. But when dawn comes and the light spreads across the land, those who gathered with dark hearts always scurry away, exposed by something as simple as daybreak. That's how it's always been for those who carry light inside, those chosen souls marked for a calling bigger than what the world can see. You see, when your light began to shine, some people felt threatened, maybe even envious. They saw something in you that reminded them of what they wished they had or what they'd lost along the way. And in that fear, they tried to build walls, gather armies, make alliances, not out of strength, but out of their own brokenness. They tried to knit together a web of control, thinking if they wove it tight enough, your light wouldn't be able to get through. But webs spun from fear and bitterness are fragile, no matter how intricate they seem in the dark. It's like ice on a pond in early spring. Looks solid enough until the sun comes out and reveals just how thin it really is. Some of these folks pulled in allies, people with old scars, folks who felt left behind, or those who'd tasted disappointment so many times they forgot what hope felt like. They thought if they gathered enough wounded hearts, they could drown out the song of your spirit, bury your light beneath their numbers. But numbers never beat truth, friend. You can gather every pebble on the shore, but you'll never dam up the ocean. They missed that. When real connection, the kind built on honesty and grace, steps into the room, all the false alliances melt away. Genuine love, authentic light, it can't be counterfeited, and it won't be ignored. Like ice under the noonday sun, the schemes of the fearful collapse. Every whispered plan, every secret meeting, every shadowy alliance, none of it stands up when the light gets turned on. Sometimes, those who meant to harm you even begin to realize, deep down, that they were never working with solid ground. Maybe they even start to feel a twinge of regret, remembering a time when they too wanted to be part of something true. But it's hard to build anything lasting out of old wounds and jealousy. That's why their efforts falter, their unity cracks, and their circle dissolves. Sometimes suddenly, sometimes in slow motion, but always inevitably. What they thought would be your downfall turns out to be your unveiling. Because here's the thing about being chosen, God will use even your enemy's schemes to set the stage for your elevation. He will take the very web meant to entangle you and turn it into a bridge that leads you higher. Every arrow fired in secret, every accusation spoken in hushed tones, becomes the proof that you are walking a path no one else can walk for you. When scrutiny finally comes, when the eyes of truth look closely, only what's real will remain. Superficial alliances fade like dew in the morning. The only things that stand are what's rooted in love, built with honesty, and sealed by faith. You, chosen one, have been forged in fire. Your spirit has been tempered by every season of isolation and every whisper of doubt. That's why, when others fall away, you stand taller, because your roots go deeper than anyone ever realized. People will talk. Let them talk. They'll try to twist your story, rewrite your motives, question your calling. But the universe, and the one who made you, keeps perfect records. You don't have to defend yourself against every rumor, because your fruit speaks louder than their words. In time, the world sees which trees bear fruit and which only cast shadows. And as the false alliances fall apart, something beautiful happens. People begin to see you for who you really are. Some who once joined in the murmurs might return quietly, hoping for a place around your fire, drawn by the warmth that doesn't judge or remember past wrongs. Some will never return, and that's all right too. Not everyone is meant to journey with you into your next season. You might notice, too, that your circle gets smaller but stronger. The people left around your campfire aren't there to steal your light, but to share it, to build something lasting together. These are the friends who will hold your arms up when you're tired, who'll speak the truth when you need reminding, who'll celebrate your wins without a trace of envy. That's God's way, pruning away what can't bear fruit so that what remains can flourish. All the while, your story is becoming a testimony, not just to your own resilience, but to the power of walking in the light. Others are watching. There are people in your life right now, maybe folks you barely know, who are taking courage from your stand, who are quietly finding their own strength because you refuse to hide who you are. So don't shrink back. Don't turn down your light to make others comfortable. Don't apologize for the joy, the hope, the calling that sets you apart. You weren't put here to blend in, but to break the mold. Every day, you're proving that integrity outlasts schemes, that light outshines darkness, and that love heals what fear tries to destroy. Remember, the greatest victories are often born from the greatest opposition. God doesn't just restore, He multiplies. For every friend you lose to the truth, He'll send you two who love you for who you are. For every room you're shut out of, He'll open a door you never expected, where your gifts are not only welcomed but needed. And as you keep walking, you'll find that the old fears no longer have a hold on you. You're not afraid of scrutiny, because you have nothing to hide. You're not worried about betrayal, because you know the one who holds your heart. You're not concerned about numbers, because you've learned that one person with purpose is stronger than a crowd built on convenience. One day, you'll look back and thank God for every scheme that fell apart, for every friend who left, for every time you had to start over. Because every loss was a clearing, every tear watered your roots, every lonely night strengthened your faith. Now, as you stand in the light of a new day, you can see the beauty that grew from ashes, the harvest that came from seeds sown in sorrow. Your legacy, chosen one, isn't built on how many people cheered for you, but on the lives you changed by simply refusing to give up. You are the proof that God's promises are true, that nothing and no one can block what He's ordained for your life. Keep tending your fire. Keep shining your light. The world needs you, now more than ever. And always remember, when the dawn comes and the circle is smaller but stronger, the only ones left are those who matter. You are chosen, you are called, you are unstoppable, not because of the size of your crowd, but because of the strength of your calling. Picture an old country church bell ringing across the fields at sunrise. No matter how far the fog has crept in overnight, that sound slices through the mist, calling every heart that hears it to attention. It doesn't matter how thick the rumors hang in the air, or how tangled the stories become as they pass from porch to porch. When the truth rings out, it finds its way home. That's the nature of real light, friend. You can try to smother it, try to drown it in gossip, but all you end up doing is making its return that much louder, that much brighter. That's how it's always been for folks who are marked by purpose. Like you, chosen one. Life has a way of letting stories swirl around you like autumn leaves in a cold wind. Sometimes, it seems like every whisper and every sideways glance is trying to bury your name under somebody else's bad weather. But even as rumors drift from ear to ear, each one carries its own weight, pointing right back to the hand that set it spinning. Just like a bell that always echoes the hammer that struck it, gossip always reveals more about the one who started it than the one it's meant to hurt. You ever notice how some folks are first in line when there's something ugly to say? It's because they've never tasted the real sweetness of genuine kindness. They wouldn't know a true heart if it sat down across from them with a cup of coffee. And when the tide turns, when the tables are finally set right, they're the first ones left standing in the spotlight, their motives plain for the whole world to see. The very hands that pointed at you end up painted by their own accusations. But let me tell you, the Spirit's work can't be halted by other people's plans. Every time they tried to corner you, to push you out of the picture, to build fences around your future, God's grace started planting new seeds right at your feet. It's like a field after a wildfire. You'd think nothing good could grow in all that burned ground, but just give it a little rain and suddenly wildflowers burst up where nobody ever expected. Doors closed by rumor become open windows for blessing. Every old friend that walks out makes room for someone new who brings laughter, truth, and loyalty you never dreamed possible. People may have gathered, shaking their heads, certain that the whispers would stick. But you were never built to live under a cloud of suspicion. The light inside you is too stubborn, too holy, too persistent. No matter how much darkness gets tossed your way, it can't change what's already blessed. See, what most folks don't realize is that destiny isn't fragile. It can't be torn apart by talk, can't be tripped up by schemes, can't be buried by bitterness. Destiny is like those wildflowers, resilient, colorful, breaking through the cracks when no one's watching. When the ones eager to join in on the latest story found themselves unmasked, it was never your loss. That was God doing what only He can do, clearing out what doesn't belong, exposing hearts, and shifting the atmosphere. The ones who never recognized real goodness got caught up in their own games. When the truth finally took its seat at the table, you didn't have to say a word. Life, spirit, and time did the talking for you. You see, chosen one, there's always a season where it looks like you're surrounded by weeds, envy, jealousy, misunderstanding. But then comes the moment when all those weeds get cut back, and the garden starts blooming in places you never imagined. Suddenly, opportunities spring up out of nowhere. A stranger becomes a friend. A closed door becomes an invitation. It's grace in action, and it can't be stopped by old pain or by those who never understood your worth. Let's make it plain. Every plot to set you aside became a setup for your elevation. Every lie whispered became a stepping stone for new relationships, new ideas, and new adventures. Like wildflowers on a forgotten road, blessing keeps showing up in unexpected places, colorful, bold, and impossible to ignore. So if you ever wonder why you had to walk through so many rumors, why you faced so much suspicion, or why certain people never saw your heart for what it truly was, remember this: you were never meant to blend in. Your life is a living testimony that light outlasts every shadow, that spirit brings growth in places left for dead, and that no amount of talk can cancel what's been promised to you from the beginning. People who gather in darkness, thinking they're doing you harm, are actually clearing the ground for a harvest only you can gather. Their plans turn into your blessings. Their whispers become your songs of freedom. Every time they count you out, God is counting you in. You're living proof that rumors don't have the final word. The seeds planted by hope, kindness, and courage always outgrow the weeds of doubt and envy. And while others are busy trying to write your ending, heaven is just getting started on your next chapter. Can you spot the lesson in every legend? Subscribe and join the search. Take heart, chosen one. Your name is safe in the hands of the one who called you. The people who tried to block your path are only paving the way for something far greater. New friendships, real opportunities, and blessings you never even prayed for are blooming around you now, just like wildflowers on a hillside after the rain. You keep shining, keep loving, keep walking tall, knowing you've been called, set apart, and surrounded by favor that no rumor can erase. The story they tried to write for you will be forgotten, but your story, marked by grace, rooted in truth, and crowned with joy, will be told for generations to come. The times you were left alone were transformed into seasons of reflection and growth, where you learned the difference between those meant to share your table and those just passing through. The attempts to break your spirit became the fuel that refined your purpose, forging in you a resolve that could not be manufactured or mimicked. Not only did the effort to undermine you fall apart, but it ended up highlighting all the things that set you apart. As you continued to stand tall in the middle of the storm, the world began to take notice, not just of what you had endured, but of the unshakable foundation you'd built when no one was watching. People who were once led astray by rumors returned, drawn not by apologies but by the undeniable shift in the air around you. The louder the accusations, the clearer it became that your character was unshaken. Soon, even those who never gave you a second thought were speaking your name with respect, and those who whispered against you found themselves forgotten in the background. Some who started the trouble left quietly, unable to face the results of their choices. Others tried to rebuild what had been lost, but the heart of the matter had already been laid bare. Where there was once uncertainty, there was now a new kind of belonging, a recognition that real worth cannot be decided by fleeting opinions or gossip, but is revealed over time through perseverance and integrity. This entire experience, with all its twists and turns, became something much larger than any one person. The setbacks were turned into stepping stones, the obstacles into reminders of how deeply you were rooted in something greater than approval. The challenges, far from weakening you, sculpted a new vision of what was possible, both for yourself and for the many quietly watching from afar. Through it all, you responded not with anger or revenge, but with a quiet strength that changed the hearts of those around you. This grace, shown in moments when the world expected retaliation, became the reason your story echoed far beyond its original setting. People looked to you as proof that strength lies not in returning fire, but in refusing to be shaken by it. In time, every attempt to cast you aside only made your presence more vital. Every story told against you turned into an example of what you had overcome, and every person who once doubted you became part of the evidence that real power endures. As the dust settled, the community that once wavered grew closer, bound together by the clarity brought by your unwavering example. Families, friends, even strangers reached out to share in the newfound understanding. Your journey became a blueprint for others, showing that wounds can become wisdom and that no lie can bury what's truly meant to shine. Looking back, what was supposed to be your undoing was, in fact, the reason for your rise. The opposition you faced was not a sign of failure but a signal that you were building something solid. The attacks became your testimony, your light, the proof that nothing built on falsehood can last. In the end, the efforts to push you aside became the very current that carried you forward. Those who plotted against you faded quietly into the background, leaving your story as a testament to what endures when all else falls away. The lesson that remains is this: true value is revealed, not declared, and the light that is real grows brighter the more it is tested.